Hey guys, this is your suitably Bradley Hang, and we're back again for more suitable conversations. And today we're talking watches, or which some may call timepieces. As we did touch on, you know, watch brands, or if I may say, luxury watch brands in the previous insert, today we just want to touch more onto what is a watch to you. Yes, of course, a watch is a gadget that gives us time, but for me personally, I always filter in a watch according to my look for the day. For example, today I'm wearing black loafers, so I decided to go with black leather straps. Maybe sometimes I would be wearing black shoes. I'd probably go with a brown leather straps. And usually people would go with black shoes, black belt. But then with me, most of my trousers do not have belt loops, so I usually, you know, complement my shoes with the strap of my watch. Yes, sometimes I may be wearing black shoes and maybe feel like today we'll do silver metallic straps or gold for that matter. So it all depends on the feel for the day, what looks good with the look for the day. However, we get to see that with regards to watches, we've seen all these super luxurious brands and how much they cost, and the question is, for you, would you, invest in a watch that is costing, like, as you can see here, your Rolex is like 19,000, and is it worth it? Because again, when it comes to watches, it's different strokes for different folks, So just want to hear from you as to what is a watch to you and your thoughts with regards to the luxurious brands, and do you just wear a watch just for time's sake, or you are filtering it in with regards to your look for the day? Maybe some people, like for instance, with golfers usually they don't play with a watch, especially professional golfers per se. They will not play with a watch. However, when you look at down to your amateur golfers, they would have, a wristwatch with them when they are playing. Most of the time, those watches are for GPS, distance. They use them usually when they're playing on the golf course to give them distance and yardage and all of that. But most of the time, some of the people they'd be wearing that watch maybe simply like for your now these luxury phones, so it will be an Apple Watch, so that at least I know I'm getting feedback from the phone, from the watch. So those are some of the reasons why people would be wearing watches. But for today's conversation, I would like us to, you know, look at this page. But before we look at this page, we're gonna just browse through onto this hierarchy here of watch brands and how they have, categorized them. Right? If you look at obviously the bottom level here, these are your entry level watches. You can see even Apple Watch is there. You've got your Karoom, Victorinox, Tissot, Fossil, Swatch, Seiko. I've got here Bulova. Bulova is an American brand which is under the brand Citizen. So obviously going further up, you see your Omega, you see IWC, Hublot, all the way to your Richard Mille. So those are the brands and how they categorize them, obviously, to whether it be price, quality, but the more they go up, the more luxurious and the more expensive they are. So as coming to this page, time.treasures24, they usually showcases watches like this. They don't really compare them. Well, at least in my view, it's not comparing Timex with a Rolex. For me, I look at it as Timex designing a watch inspired by Rolex. It's like me wearing an outfit inspired by Weibo. Obviously, Weibo, I saw how he was dressed at the previous P2 Womo, so I'd want to try and look like him. That's getting an inspiration from him and his style and trying to do that. So I also see with regards to these watches, um, Timex being 230 and Rolex being 20,000. So this one doesn't make, yes, it is an affordable watch, but it doesn't make it inferior. However, what we see here is an inspiration to that particular one. So if we check out the other one, like for instance, right here, we are seeing an AP, and down here, we'll see the Velucis Volt, AP going for 45K, this one going for only 260. We go here, Cartier, Lotus, and if you look at this one and this one, you know, the design is almost similar. It's almost similar. Of course, there's certain details there that makes this one different to that one. However, this is still to me a good watch for one to have if you can not afford a Cartier. I have great respect for a guy who'd wear a Lotus, which costs 120, rather than somebody who would want to wear a replica Cartier for whatever the price it may be. So I'd rather wear this brand, which they are not, like I said, they are not copying, Cartier and putting the brand name Cartier on the watch. They are still, you know, complementing or getting inspiration from Cartier's design and creating their own watch and obviously branding it as Lotus. So this again is it's one of those things that captured my attention, seeing how all these other brands, as we go back, you'll see your Timex, your Seikos, your Citizen, your Casios. These are here. So these are the brands that would you know get inspiration from these high-end brands, and then they would design a watch inspired by one of these brands, and not necessarily them you know, designing a watch and putting a Rolex logo there. So that's how, obviously, them creating this is for one to obviously get some inspiration to say, okay, I'm wearing I'm wearing a Velucis. However, it inspires me because this design is the design of a Rolex, or the design is the design of a Cartier, whatever the case might be. So but one of the things that I've learned as well with regards to watches and having a collection of watches, shout out to a gentleman by the name of Luigi Luaro. He does a lot of get ready with me, and when he does that, he would showcase, obviously the fragrance that he's wearing for the day, and he would also showcase the watch that he'll be wearing to complete his look. And when he does that, once he shows us the watch, you'd see him setting the time of the watch, which was very interesting to see that. Of course, the guy's got a huge collection of watches, meaning that if he's wearing this watch today, he might be wearing a different one tomorrow. And looking at the collection of his watches, there may be some of the watches that he hasn't worn for quite some time. Meaning that if he's leaving all his watches in his accessory box or whatever, where he puts the watches, it may happen that by the time he wants to wear that one, the battery might be low. But the fact that he sets it off and he set it on when he's gonna wear it and sets the time, it was a good learning for me to say, hey man, this is the reason why I keep on, going to the watchmaker to put in every time you're putting in new battery, So it was something very worth learning from him to say, after wearing the watch, just set it off so that saves the battery of the watch. So with you, let us know what you think with regards to watches. What are your thoughts with, you know, the expensive brands, your uh, the replicas, So give us your thoughts, what you think, and tell us what you think as well with regards to the watch. Do you also, you know, filter the watch into your look for the day, or you just wear whichever watch that you come across in your accessory box? But yeah, until next time, take care. Cheers.